Hello and welcome back to another live stream on high altitude investing. Today is October 1st. It's a good day to be alive. It's a good day to be a crypto investor. And I figured I'd hop on and do a live stream. I wasn't going to do a video or anything today, but the markets are looking really good. And, figured no better time than right now to update you guys on what's going on in the crypto markets. So we have Bitcoin here, and Bitcoin is breaking bullish out of a double bottom pattern. As you guys can see, we have our first low here, our second low here, and we're now breaking bullish out of a double bottom pattern. Now, a lot of people freaked out when the market came down to right here. Pretty much everybody freaked out. A lot of people did when we tested this low right here. But I made a live stream kind of letting people know that I was bullish down here because this was a major support area going all the way back to this over here. So this was a huge area of support. Definitely not a place that you'd want to sell your Bitcoin. And we've started to see a strong reaction off of that support level going up towards 118,000. Now, I personally believe we're starting a big reversal here with this double bottom, and we will obliterate our old all-time high up here at 124,000 and start to head up towards a new all-time high. Now, the main reason for this is because of our double bottom pattern. So again, we have our first low here and our second low here. Very clear double bottom pattern. And as we break bullish out of this double bottom pattern, which we are doing currently as I'm talking, as I'm live streaming, then the minimum target is well above our previous old all-time high. So a break above our old all-time high on Bitcoin, I believe we will obliterate that level at 124,000 and start to head to the moon. So I'm very excited about that. What is up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. Jfish, HT, thank you guys for tuning in to today's live stream. Q4 Dogecoin when you get a chance. Yeah, we can talk about Dogecoin here in a minute. Absolutely. But my main word of advice for you guys, just right off the bat, I just posted on my X account. Most of you aren't greedy enough, or you're greedy at all the wrong times. You need to be greedy when the cycle is early, like right now. Don't start thinking about taking profits. So what I'm seeing a lot of people doing, and what I've seen, I'm not calling anybody specifically out, but probably for the past, even since we went up here, you guys, once Bitcoin hit 73,000, I've continuously seen a bigger and bigger amount of people that are just like, hey, we should take profits on all our coins. Like, let's get out of the market. It's going to top out. Let's take profits. Let's sell. You guys, we're still early. Like, this cycle on Bitcoin just started. You have to realize the context of where we're at in the cycle. Don't start thinking about taking profits until we're parabolic, not slightly above the old all-time high. Like, people are thinking so short term. So many people are bearish way too soon, thinking, oh, this is going to end. This is going to end. You got to get out of that mindset and start thinking about what's coming for crypto. It's not going to serve you to be bearish too soon, too early. Let me see if I can fix this mic volume. It looks like it might be distorting a little bit. So let me see if I can change that. Hello? Let's see. Hello? Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Might be distorting a little bit. Let me know if it is. Or if it's too quiet or anything like that. Just let me know how the audio sounds and I'll make adjustments as needed. But yeah, you guys definitely don't fall into the trap of I know, listen, here's the thing. People got burned in 2018 and they got burned in 2022. And they seriously have PTSD, like market PTSD from those two experiences. But if you continually let the fear of loss control your investing because you've got screwed in the past, you're not going to make clear-headed decisions. Because this market does not favor, the crypto markets doesn't favor people that are afraid of taking risk. The crypto markets favor people that ape into stuff. This is why people that are like 13 years old make millions of dollars in crypto, because they ape into a whole bunch of coins and they hold on and they don't give two hecks about the idea of the market crashing. They just buy. But a lot of people, they get stuck in their ways, especially like I see this more commonly among older people because they've probably experienced losses in their life, or they have more that they have to be careful with because of the fact that they feel like they have more that they could lose, whereas young people don't have anything to lose. But you can't be afraid of loss. If you want to make good decisions investing in crypto, you have to be willing to take risk, and you have to be willing to risk everything. Doesn't matter how old you are, how much you already have. And I'm not saying to put everything in the market, but you have to be willing to risk like everything you put into the market and lose it all. You have to have that mindset, because that's how you get rich in crypto. You have to be all in. Not with all of your money, but all in on what you have, being willing to lose it all. You can't hold back at all. You can't be lukewarm in these markets. You have to be a risk taker and be thinking like a risk taker. And I'm not saying you don't practice capital preservation. I'm not saying you don't manage risk and you don't take calculated risk, because you do want to do all of those things. But I am saying that a huge common mistake people make is they're too fearful. They play it safe and then they regret it later. And they stop playing it safe at the top. They stop playing it safe once everybody's excited and it seems obvious it's going to keep going up, and then it crashes. That's when they stop playing it safe. But with Bitcoin, with crypto, you have to understand the context of where we're at in the cycle. And I'm telling you right now, according to everything that I've learned about technical analysis over the past 9 years that I've been studying these charts, since I was seriously like 17 years old, I started learning all this stuff. Maybe 18, somewhere around there. I'd have to go look at the exact dates. I was super young. I'm 28 now. So I think I've been doing my YouTube channel for 9 years now, and I think I've been looking at charts for like over 10, because I started looking at Bitcoin in 2014. So it's been a long time that I've been doing this. And everything that I've learned about trends, markets, cycles, fractals, new technologies, the development of S-curves, where technologies go from being something that people are just excited about to something that everybody uses, and mass adoption, and all of the charts that I've studied in seriously tons of different industries. I'm here to tell you guys that crypto is still early. You have to think like that. If you want to make money in these markets, you can't be thinking, oh, I got to take my profits. Oh, I got to take my profits. Yeah, you do want to have a plan for taking profits, but your plan should be taking profits significantly above where we're at right now. Like way when we're overextended, because we're not overextended right now in crypto. We're still early. A really, really good example of this is Bitcoin, okay? And again, I know It's easy to get thinking like, oh, what if I lose my money? What if I lose my money? You got to be willing to risk it all. You got to be willing to risk it all. Everything that you put into this market, you have to be willing to lose 100% of it. If you want to get rich in crypto, that's literally the mindset that you have to have. You have to be willing to lose it all. Because those are the people that hold through the pump. Because they're willing to lose it. So they don't panic sell in corrections. They're not thinking about the next second to take profits. They're holding on. That's why they're able to make so much money. In 2017, if I would have given up on crypto or started thinking about taking profits at like 3,000 per coin before Bitcoin went to 20,000, I wouldn't have made all the money that I made at 21 years old in a single year. Tons of money, super fast, with very, very exciting times, because I was willing to lose it all. And because I held on for the trend. And it changed my life. You know, it was crazy what happened. Bitcoin looks like Apple. This is what I'm talking about with new technologies being adopted by the public. Go look at what an S-curve is on Google Images. Okay, go to Google Images, type in S-curve. This is what technologies do. And you can choose to be an idiot and take all your money out of crypto and wait on the sidelines and play it safe. Or you can study technologies throughout the history of humanity and what's happened when they're mass adopted by the public. That's what an S-curve is. That's when demand grows, it grows, it grows, and there's a rollover point where the majority of the market starts adopting that technology and using it, and it creates a snowball effect. And all of a sudden, everybody has the internet. And all of a sudden, everybody has an iPhone or a Samsung. That's what an S-curve is. And if you don't believe crypto is going to do this, you've missed the entire point. The reason it's so cool to be a crypto investor, to be early to this technology, is because you found something that is going to do this. This is what happened to the internet. Yeah, there was a bubble in the early 90s, and it popped. And 2003 was the peak bottom of the internet bubble. It crashed super hard. But then it was mass adopted by the public, and everybody uses it. And all of the big companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, any major computer or internet company, the stock went up like 50,000% from the bottom in 2003 when the bubble had popped, when the news was negative and people thought there's no way it was going to become a household name. And then all of a sudden, Microsoft is a household name, Amazon is a household name, Nvidia is a household name, Apple is a household name, because it was mass adopted. It went through a technological S-curve. That's what happened to the internet and to computer technology. And the same thing is happening with crypto. I'm telling you, the same exact thing. So be greedy. Like, if there was ever a time to be unreasonably greedy, it's now. That's my message. Like, be a little bit unreasonably greedy with crypto. You will be financially compensated for your willingness to take risk, but you won't be for trying to play it safe. All right, enough about that. Just had to seriously take that point and drill it home, because a lot of people are going to sell too early. People are already selling. Like, come on, people. People are going to sell early, and it's going to be highly unfortunate because of what's coming for crypto. They're going to be so mad at themselves. All right, cool. What is up, Tom? Thank you for tuning in. Volks, thanks for tuning in, my friend. Where is crypto at in the S-curve? Great question, AJ. If we pull up the S-curve chart here, crypto's like right here. Like right here. In fact, I'll just copy this image and I'll open paint.net. Look at this, okay? This is where crypto's at. Right here. Maybe like right here, if we want to be generous to the people that are, you know what, screw that. I'm not going to be any generous to the people that are bearish, because look how much growth we still have. So they don't even get any spotlight at all. Screw those people. But look at this. That's where crypto is. Let me downsize this image right here. Canvas size. Let's put this like 1,000. Oops, not canvas size. Resize image. Image, resize image. Let's put this at like 1,000 here. We're going to steal this image. Go over to TradingView. And we're going to stretch this chart out right here on Bitcoin. And then we're going to do the same thing to Apple, okay? Now, what I've done here is I've lined Apple's chart up with Bitcoin. So this 2008 crash on Apple. And then here's the internet bubble right here, which looks microscopic compared to how much growth came. This is what I'm trying to talk about. Right? This is why I'm trying to drill into your subconscious mind so you start making better decisions with your money. But look at this. Here's Bitcoin. Okay? Here's 2022. It coincides with 2008. And here's 2017, which coincides with the internet bubble on Apple. Okay? This is what happened when Apple went through its S-curve. Computing, the internet as a technology became a household name. Look at this. You guys, that's what happened to Apple computers. Look how ridiculous the amount of growth that came afterwards. Now check this out. If we pull up the S-curve right here, and this isn't even parabolic enough, right? This S-curve chart. But if we pull this up and we stretch this out like this, let's line up this little 2008 with like that red circle right here. See? That's what happened. That rollover point, that little red dot that I drew on this chart right here, that's when that little red dot is where a technology goes from being something that people just think is kind of cool to something that a big enough market share has started adopting that technology to where now that technology is, the jack is out of the box and there's no stopping it. And that happens right at that little red, oops, that's too big. That happens right at that little red circle right there. That's when mass adoption starts. And with Apple, that was when we started breaking bullish out from the 2008 crash right there, right here on Apple, this 2008 crash. That's when we started going out from that early growth right here to mass adoption with Apple. Was after the 2008 crash in the housing market, which is this little green circle right here. Now I'm telling you that the 2022 FTX thing was pretty much exactly the same as the 2008 crash on Apple in terms of the where we're at in the cycle on Bitcoin. And we're starting to come out of the early phase of the S-curve down here, this early phase down here, into the mass adoption. That's where we're headed with crypto right now. And that's why I'm trying to help people understand the most important thing you could be doing with your money is holding on and putting as much as possible in because of what's coming in the bigger picture. It's going to be insane. Professor K, what is up? Thank you for tuning in. We love you, bro. Please take a look at T-Drop. Okay, we're going to do Dogecoin first because we already have been requested in the chat to do Dogecoin. But before I do, one final thing. Look at all this volume on Bitcoin early on in the cycle, right? This is all during this phase right here of the S-curve, right? That's because big institutions position themselves when stuff is cheap before it goes parabolic. And big institutions have more money than retail. That's why you can see here on Apple, look at all that institutional money between the internet bubble and 2008. And then look what happened when it started going parabolic. It's just retail buying up there. There's like no volume on Apple, but it kept going vertical, which, by the way, is really bad long term. That means eventually Apple will crash because it's rising on no volume in comparison to how much volume there was early on in its cycle. So who do you want to be? Do you want to be the idiot that's buying the top here, even though Apple could still easily go higher before it tops out? But I'm just saying, look how small the volume is in comparison to what there was. So the smart investors were early on, like right now on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still early. That's what I'm trying to say. There will be a point when Bitcoin is increasing in value, but on no volume. It's just going to keep increasing and increasing as retail keeps buying and buying. And the big institutions have been positioning themselves since 2015. And if you don't believe me, study the charts. They don't lie. All I'm showing you in these live streams and videos is data. This is actual data in the charts. This isn't my opinion. This is data. Now, when I tell you what I think it's going to do based on that data, yeah, there's opinion involved. But I'm using data to get to that opinion. So I believe it's accurate. I believe my opinion is in alignment with truth. And the charts show it. So let's pull up Dogecoin, okay? We've got some Doge investors in the chat, which, by the way, you guys are awesome. Dogecoin looks amazing. All right, let's pull up Doge here, and then let's pull up Bitcoin. And I've shown this chart literally hundreds of times, but does it make it any less important to see? No, it doesn't, because this is what Dogecoin is doing. We have Bitcoin on the right, and we have Dogecoin over here on the left. And the same market cycle that happened on Bitcoin, when it topped out in 2014, went down for a year, bottomed out in 2015, started going up in 2016, and then went parabolic in 2017, is the exact same thing that Dogecoin is doing. And I know what you guys are saying. What about the volume? Look, there isn't as much volume right here as there was on Bitcoin. You guys, I'm on Binance, all right? If you want to be nitpicky and lame, you can be. But if you go over to charts.cointrader.pro and you pull up the Bitcoin or the Dogecoin chart over here, and you look at Dogecoin over here, and you switch to like a monthly candlestick so you can see the volume, it looks exactly like Bitcoin. Look at all the volume. This is across all of the exchanges. Just like Bitcoin, huge spikes in volume as it's bottoming out. Same thing happening over here on Doge. So don't tell me that there isn't enough volume for a bullish cycle. You're not looking across all the exchanges. If you look across all the exchanges, there's plenty of volume. It looks exactly like Bitcoin before Bitcoin went parabolic in 2016 and 2017. All right? So just stop, okay? If you already have a view that the market is going down, then you can find anything in the world to prove that. because you already believe it. So you're just going to cherry pick all the stuff that you think is going to prove that the market's going to go down. But if you have a correct understanding of the market, if you understand what's going on from a technological perspective, with mass adoption, with an S-curve, with growth coming in crypto, then you start to see the market as it is. All the puzzle pieces start to fit perfectly into place. And it makes sense. It's cohesive. It comes together perfectly. And that's what is coming for Dogecoin, is a huge parabolic run, just like what happened to Bitcoin in 2016 and in 2017. That's what's coming. I firmly believe that. You can see it in the chart. It doesn't lie. The data is there. The volume is there. If you guys are Dogecoin haters, you can get lost, okay? Because I'm going to talk about Dogecoin on this channel. I'm not going to stop. If you look over here at the 30-day volume on Doge, it's been consistently in the top 10 or 15 in 30-day volume for months and months and months and months. In fact, I'm pretty sure for over a year, Dogecoin, it's been more volume than Sui, more volume than seriously top coins that people love. Dogecoin is consistently doing more volume than 99% of crypto. So if that doesn't mean something, I don't know what does. Because the honest truth is that volume precedes price. Okay? So volume comes before an increase in value. That's why I was teaching you just a second ago with the Apple chart. Look at all the volume early on in the cycle down here when Apple was worth a couple dollars per share. And then look at the growth that came afterwards, where now it's worth $256 per share. Volume precedes an increase in price. Now, if you go to the total crypto market cap and you look at the total crypto market cap and you zoom out, look at all that volume here. Do you guys not think that it's going to have a huge increase in value? Too many people are thinking, oh, it's just going to maybe hit a couple more trillion and then we've got another bear market. You guys can believe whatever you want to believe. But I'm going to look at these charts, I'm going to analyze them for what they are, and I'm going to do my best to get a correct and accurate understanding of the markets. And in my view, the total crypto market cap is exactly like early day Apple computers, where there was billions of dollars coming into the market. It was undervalued. It was getting ready to go parabolic in its S-curve and be mass adopted. That's exactly where Apple is, or the total crypto market cap is. Look at Apple on the right. It's the same thing, you guys. Look at all that volume. Look at all this volume. Volume precedes price. And Dogecoin has been in the top 10 to 15 in 30-day volume for like over a year, if not longer. That should make an impression on you. You should be thinking about Dogecoin. Whether you like it or not, the data doesn't lie. All right, let's look at TFuel as Sleeping Korean Guy has requested. Or T-Drop, and maybe TFuel too, I didn't see. Let's see. T-Drop. Yeah, T-Drop. K-Light, you don't have to look for a catalyst. Don't go look on the news. Don't try to find a catalyst somewhere other than the charts. The volume is the catalyst. That's, if you want to see the data, go look at the charts. It's not going to lie to you like the news is, like your friend will. The volume is the data. That is the catalyst. It's already here. You don't need another catalyst other than volume. The same amount of volume that happened early on with the internet bubble, with computing technology, with graphics card companies, billions of dollars going in, institutions early on before they went parabolic and got mass adopted. The exact same thing has been happening with crypto over the past 10 years. You can see it in the charts. Billions of dollars coming into crypto. Big institutions, they know what they're doing. The volume is the catalyst, and people forget it because they get so focused on short-term news events, what could go wrong in the world, and they forget what is seriously right in front of their face on their computer. On tradingview.com, on coinmarketcap.com, which is the data, which doesn't lie. It tells you where the money is going. It tells you what the big players are doing with their money. And what do they say in politics? Follow the money, right? If you want to know the truth about something, follow the money. It's 100% true for crypto. If you want to make money in crypto, follow the money. Why do you think I've been talking about Bitcoin Cash, you guys? People seriously mocked me for talking about Bitcoin Cash. And Bitcoin Cash has been doing way good lately. Look how strong this recovery was, especially down here when the price was really low. People told me that they're like, oh, it's definitely going to go lower. I had people that thought I was seriously ridiculous for saying Bitcoin Cash was going to go up right there. And people still think that I've lost my mind for saying that Bitcoin Cash is going to go up in the big picture. But why? But look at what Grayscale is doing. Grayscale is putting money into Bitcoin Cash. They're investing in Bitcoin Cash. You can go look at this. You can seriously go to their website and see an overview of their investments. This is public knowledge. This isn't something that's hidden. Big institutions are putting money into crypto, be it millions of dollars or billions of dollars combined together across multiple institutions. It's the same thing that happened during the internet bubble, especially when it started bottoming out, and during the early adoption of the internet and computers. So let's look at T-drop here. So T-drop is still doing a double bottom, still the same pattern that I've been talking about for a while now. You can see we've started to come back down and test our lower support level here. Don't be afraid. This thing is going to follow Theta. If you watched my video about Theta yesterday, you guys know I'm very bullish on Theta. Theta is one of the most undervalued cryptos in the entire space. T-drop and TFuel are going to follow Theta. This is a big double bottom. I expect a strong reaction off this lower support level and a big double bottom pattern in the beginning of a big W bottom reversal. So yeah, we've got a little double bottom right here, but that will lead to a bigger W bottom reversal pattern. As it really starts to turn around here, it'll make a big W bottom reversal here on T-drop. And you can see that we have volume to confirm that there's people interested at these levels, that people are picking it up down here. And it's not people that don't have very much money. It's people that have more money than the people that were buying over here. See how big those spikes are? So yeah, I think T-drop is going to go crazy. You guys know I'm a big bull on Theta and on TFuel. And I believe T-drop will do a big run. Rock and roll. Interest rates headed way lower while unemployment goes through the roof as AI explodes productivity and the government has to print unreal sums to cover the gap BTC moons. Yeah, so the whole unemployment thing I believe is temporary. People are short-term afraid of AI. The thing is, AI isn't the only thing causing unemployment. there's been, I mean, we had a pandemic in 2020. We had, I won't get into politics, but we only recently have a good president in the United States right now. And to be honest with you, as far as the economic like conditions go, it hasn't been very good for a while. So yeah, unemployment rates are kind of low or high right now, and people that have jobs are pretty low. But that's not going to stay. And we can absolutely compete with AI. I disagree. I mean, here's the thing, Justin. Money doesn't get destroyed. It just gets transferred. It's like energy. Energy, it can't be created or destroyed. This is a law of physics. So what is AI going to do? It's going to create new jobs in new places. It's the same thing that happened with the internet. Yeah, it took some people's jobs, but they got new jobs in new places. The same thing is going to happen with AI. Money can't be destroyed. In fact, what's happening is we're having an increase in the value created in the world, and that value is growing over time, consistently over time, and it's only going to continue to grow. The value in the world is going to keep growing, and people will just get new jobs in new areas as things change and as the economy takes new shapes, new types of jobs and stuff. You're spot on about big institutions. Well, thank you, Operation Shutdown. Like I said, it's just the data. I just see a lot of evidence to support the idea that big institutions are putting lots of money into crypto. Whether you look at the charts, whether you go to places like Grayscale, whether you just study what's been happening, you can clearly see the data shows that big institutions are putting a lot of money into crypto. So it's an exciting time to be a crypto investor. And again, most people are going to sell too early. Most people are not thinking big enough, and they're going to regret it. Pangu. We already did Doge. Volks, I don't know if you're the one that requested it, but we already did Dogecoin earlier on. Let's do Pangu. We can do some Pangu analysis for you, which I believe is bullish. We have a bull flag right here, just like what happened right here, where we had a bull flag down here on Pangu. We have an excuse me. Need to drink some water. We have another bull flag up here, same pattern on Pangu currently. So this is just a bigger version of what happened down here. It's the same pattern, same psychology, just a bigger version of what happened down there. So watch for a big breakout here. It's a bullish flag pattern. It's this right here. And that's what I believe is coming for Pangu, is more continuation of the uptrend here based on this bull flag. It's a clear continuation pattern. It also kind of made a big cup and handle. Look at that. See how nice that cup and handle is? That's a perfect cup and handle. So yeah, I'm bullish on Pangu. QNT. Let's pull up Quant, QNT. Actually, let's go over to the coin or charts.cointrader for this one. So over here on charts.cointrader.pro, if we pull up Quant, what I want you guys to look at here with Quant is super, super cool. Okay, check this out. Let's go to the 1 week time frame. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to take a little screenshot here with my computer. And we're just going to copy this. This is Quant, QNT, for you guys that missed the ticker. So that's Quant. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to increase the width of this image. So we're going to resize the canvas here and go like this. And we'll make it, let's go with double. So let's go like 2600 in width. Okay. Now let's go over to tradingview.com. and pull up the internet bubble, IXIC. We're going to go to 15-day time frame and look at this. Okay, here is the NASDAQ, the internet bubble, during 2000, like the early 1900s, or oh my goodness, the late 1990s, the early 1900s. Sometimes you get excited, you guys, and you just say silly stuff. So this is the late 90s, right? The internet bubble right here. Then the internet bubble pop that happened. The bottom was in 2003. Then we had another bottom right here in 2008, okay? So what we do here is we take shift. We take a screenshot here like this, okay? And we go back over to our software over here. And what I want you guys to see here, we'll have to make this a little bit wider, which will be easy to do. Let's take this and go image, canvas size. Let's go 4,000, even if it's a little too wide. And we'll repaste this. Okay. All right. So the reason I did this is just because it's hard to find the entire chart of Quant on TradingView, so I had to do a little photo editing magic here. Okay. Here is Quant over here on the left, and here is the NASDAQ Composite Index during the internet bubble. So what I want you guys to look at here is the parabolic run that happened on the internet bubble. We'll use a paintbrush so it's a little easier to see when I draw. This parabolic run right here and the crash that came after, okay? Then I want you to look at this parabolic run on Quant, QNT, and the crash that came after. Now I want you to look at the double bottom here on the internet bubble. So after the internet bubble popped, we had a double bottom, and that led to the true adoption of the internet as a technology, and what happened to the chart after, right? Like what happened in terms of growth, which by the way was astronomical. Look how much the NASDAQ Composite Index grew as the internet became adopted. Look how much it just went crazy, right? Now let's go back over to paint.net here, which is pretty cool. It's like, I have Photoshop too, but if you guys don't know about paint.net, it's kind of, you can install a bunch of plugins and it's basically like Photoshop for free. But I use Photoshop mainly, but this is kind of simpler sometimes to use. So you can see right here, here's a double bottom right here on QNT, Quant. That's the same double bottom that happened on the internet bubble. After the internet bubble popped, we had a double bottom. Then the price started to go parabolic and went to the moon. I believe that Quant is headed to the moon due to a mass adoption in crypto, like I've been talking about this whole time, due to the S curve that we were looking at earlier, right? We're like down here. I firmly believe that we're like right here on the S curve with crypto, and we're getting ready for mass adoption. So that means that Quant, QNT, is getting ready for a big run, just like what happened to the NASDAQ after it double bottomed, after it saw an internet bubble. Crypto is set up to do the same thing. Now, some people say you can't compare apples and oranges, Dallin. Well, okay. I'm not comparing apples and oranges. I'm comparing two new technologies being mass adopted by the public. And because human emotion is so self-consistent, and we have the same emotional reactions to new technologies over and over again, the same patterns appear on the charts. It's not apples and oranges. It's comparing new technologies as they are adopted by the people. And the patterns happen to be the same. It's kind of like how people that tell me that I can't compare charts together, they always use the same excuse. They're like, oh, well, that's a different technology. Well, okay, if it's a different technology, then how come silver and the NASDAQ did the same thing? Okay, here's silver right here, and here's the NASDAQ on the left. How come silver isn't, this is the internet bubble right here, okay? So if you want to get mad at me for comparing apples and oranges, go eat an apple and stop watching my, go eat an apple or an orange and stop watching my live stream, because I don't want to hear it, okay? If you want to understand these markets, they're based on human emotion, and it doesn't matter if you're trading silver or the NASDAQ or crypto, you're going to see the same patterns over and over again because people get excited and people get fearful. And so we do the same thing over and over again in these charts. Okay? It's just how the markets work. But anyways, so Quant, I believe, is headed into a big parabolic run. A new all-time high is coming. A big run. It's perfect. It's a perfect setup. It's exactly like buying the NASDAQ Composite Index, except you're going to make a bigger percentage gain. It's exactly like buying it as it started to recover after the 2008 crash, because this is 2008 right here. It's exactly like buying the NASDAQ right there. Same thing, but you're going to make a bigger percentage gain because the NASDAQ Composite Index, quite frankly, is not going to give you that crazy of a percentage gain compared to crypto, which is very, very lucrative and very profitable. Okay, enough about Quant. Let's go do TA on other coins. I love doing these live streams so much. It's so fun. Doing this YouTube channel literally brings me so much joy. Like, I love doing my videos, my streams, seeing you guys' questions. It is so fun. Like, it is so cool. And I'm just excited to see everybody make a bunch of money. My number one goal is customer and viewer results. So, like, the reason I talk about all this stuff, the reason I'm trying to teach you guys principles and give you really good setups, trying to give you a fish and teach you how to fish, is because I want my viewers and my customers to have results. Because here's the honest truth. If you guys make money, my business prospers, I make more money, everybody wins. I believe in that principle of win-win. Go read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. He teaches you want to do win-win scenarios where everybody wins. You don't want to do win-lose. You don't want to do lose-lose. You want to do win-win where everybody wins. And if you guys do better, I do better. So I'm trying to give you the best setups, the best knowledge I possibly can. Go read this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. It's amazing. He did such a good job on that book. Okay, cool. Let's cover some other coins now. Eddie T says Bitcoin Cash is hated for a reason. Look at Zach. Yeah, Bitcoin Cash is hated for a reason. A lot of people don't like stuff because they've been convinced by a bunch of people that don't know what they're talking about that something is going to do badly. And it's whatever, you know. You guys can believe what you want to believe, but the charts don't lie. The fractals, the cycles, they don't lie. They repeat over and over again. So here's Zcash. Zcash is a really good looking setup here. We have basically a perfect ABC correction here. You can see A, B, and C. We start a double bottom here on Zcash down here. First bottom, second bottom. Now we're breaking through resistance. So this is really what Bitcoin did. If you pull up Bitcoin in 2015, I know I use this chart a lot, but again, fractals are so powerful. Or even look at silver. This is again what I mean by human emotion repeating over and over again. Silver and Zcash look similar. But let's pull up Bitcoin in 2015 and we'll do that, okay? Right here, Bitcoin in 2015, it did an ABC correction. That's exactly what Zcash did. And what it did when it bottomed out, it did a double bottom right here. Then it went parabolic, like a little parabolic run here, a little mini one. If you zoom in, it was pretty parabolic. It did a run here, then it reconsolidated, did another run, pulled back, and then went nuts, right? It just went completely vertical. Zcash is doing the same thing right now. All right? Zcash is set up for some massive gains. It's going to go nuts. I firmly believe Zcash is going to do a big bull run. It's exactly like Bitcoin in 2015 and 2016. It's going to be exciting, you guys. It's going to be glorious. Super excited about this coin. Let's pull up silver here one more time because I want to show you guys what I'm talking about with market cycles. Silver. Look at this, okay? Let's do 1 month will be better. Okay. Here is Bitcoin on the right, and here's silver on the left. Do you see how the same ABC corrections happen in these markets over and over again? And the same structure happens in the market. Here's our first sell-off on Bitcoin. Here's our euphoria phase. And here's our depression phase. Here's our first sell-off on silver. Here's our euphoria phase. And here's our depression phase right here. And look how big this rounded bottom on Bitcoin was. Look how big that rounded bottom on silver is. Now, yeah, Bitcoin had some see this all-time high level right here on Bitcoin? Bitcoin had some corrections here. Had two pretty big corrections. Silver's near its all-time high. It could have a correction soon. Like this. And then even do like a little bit of jaggediness right here. But I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a big parabolic run coming in silver. Not without corrections. We could have a couple soon, just like Bitcoin did. But look how much Bitcoin grew after it did that ABC correction rounded bottom. Look how much silver could grow in the big picture, you guys. This is insane. There's a reason why the financial industry is one of the biggest growing industries in the entire world, if not the biggest. I'd have to go look it up, but I remember reading last year that it was either the biggest or one of the biggest industries growing in the world, the financial industry. This is why. Because money is being printed like crazy. Everybody knows it. There's tons of new technologies being developed. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world, so there's high volatility. High volatility means profitability, if you know what you're doing. This industry is fire. It's on fire, and it's so fun to trade and invest. And crypto is like the financial industry plus a new technology plus software plus affecting the gaming industry. Even AI and crypto are needed to be combined in many instances. So crypto it's seriously such a good technology to be part of and to be investing in. Okay, let's see here. Will you look at stocks? BTB. Yeah, I can look at BTB, Justin. Let's pull up BTB. I don't know if I've ever done TA on this one, but I'm happy to do it for you. This actually looks pretty good. I don't know what this is. Bit Digital. Is this a crypto stock? This looks pretty good. This looks like a crypto chart, to be honest with you. Yeah, this looks really good, man. This is an ABC correction down right here. ABC. Then we're starting to go sideways right here. So this is pretty common after those ABCs to have like a consolidation pattern. Somebody else requested that I do Litecoin. So I'll do that next, but I actually want to pull up the Litecoin chart to show you how common this is in crypto to do the same thing. Let's pull up Litecoin right here. So we have this ABC correction on Litecoin, right? And look how Litecoin is doing the same thing as this Bit Digital stock. ABC, sideways accumulation, right? Inside of a channel. This is the same kind of structure. So this is pretty common in the crypto markets to do this. The same kind of pattern. In fact, it's exactly what Ethereum did in 2018 and 2019 and 2020. So let's pull it up here. Here's Ethereum. Ethereum did the same thing, right? ABC correction. Sideways accumulation inside of a channel, just like this. Then it broke bullish out of that channel, finally. And when it broke bullish out of that channel, it went to the moon. So Bit Digital looks really good. This is a common thing to see. I love the volume right here. I love how there's a big spike in volume inside of that horizontal consolidation range. And I believe we will see a big run here in the near future for Bit Digital. So it's a nice looking stock. Yes, Ethereum Treasury BTC miner AI play. Yeah, it looks good. It looks like a nice kind of confluence. It looks like a crypto chart, but it's in the stock world. It looks nice. I think it will do a good run. So Litecoin. Let's do Litecoin next, since we were requested in the live chat to do Litecoin. So you guys know my position on Litecoin. It hasn't changed. So it's going to be kind of a broken record kind of moment for you guys that have seen me do this analysis hundreds of times. But it's still true. It's still my position for Litecoin. It's still what I see coming in Litecoin. So a lot of people say, well, Litecoin hasn't had a big run for a while. It just had a pump and a dump and a pump and a dump. So that means that it's not going to do anything, right? Well, the thing is when stuff is being accumulated by big institutions, it's going to do an accumulation cycle many times. And here's an accumulation cycle on NVIDIA. You can see the volume spike right here, the volume spike right here, and then a third and final spike right here, okay? And then volume started going down as price started going up, right? Which is very common. You always have the big money getting in early, and then once the price really starts to go vertical, they've already positioned themselves. They're not going to buy too high, so they're already in. So the big money starts to drop off, right? So here's NVIDIA, here's Litecoin on the left. I see Litecoin as being inside of one of these accumulation cycles. A big pump right here, another big pump right here. It looks the same to me. Even the volume profile looks the same as NVIDIA. So I believe Litecoin will do a big parabolic run as we go into that mass adoption phase for crypto, that S curve that we were looking at earlier. Like I said, we're like right here, and we're headed into the mass adoption phase where we go out of this into adoption. Litecoin I see as being one of those coins that will do very good, that will see a big run, a big parabolic run all the way to a new all-time high. Very profitable setup here. I see this as a good opportunity here on Litecoin. Theta is like Bitcoin in 2015. Yes, it is, David. It looks exactly like Bitcoin in 2015. Let's pull up Theta. I made a video about it yesterday. So if you guys want like an in-depth analysis on Theta, go watch yesterday's video. But if I pull up Theta over here, and I pull up 2015 Bitcoin over here, it looks exactly the same. It's seriously the same thing. So Theta, like right here when Bitcoin was at its absolute bottom right here, that's where Theta is at right now. It's exactly the same point. Now altcoins, one thing you have to understand about altcoins versus Bitcoin, Bitcoin has a tendency to fall 84% from its peak. So if we measure from the peak down, 84 to 86%. This one was 86%. Whereas if you go study every altcoin cycle like Ethereum, it doesn't matter what coin you're looking at, Telcoin, any coin. If you go study an altcoin cycle, you'll see that the altcoins drop over 90%. So really the only two differences in these charts is that Theta fell 96% from its peak and Bitcoin fell 86% from its peak. Other than that, it's the same thing. But I'm here to tell you that that's common for altcoins to fall more than Bitcoin does in its cycle. Bitcoin holds its dominance in the bear markets better than altcoins do. And if you look at Ethereum did more of that 80 or that 96% correction. So let's pull from the top down. 94% here on Ethereum from the peak down. So altcoins will typically fall over 90% once they start their bear markets, whereas Bitcoin typically falls between 83 and 86% from its peak down in its bear markets. HOT, bounce back or dead? Let's pull up HOT here. We'll go on a single chart, HOT. Let's remove our drawing tools here. Yeah, this thing is going to bottom soon. I bet it's in its bottom right now. Let's look at the bullish divergence here. MACD. What have I done? I only want one of you. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so this is an ABC correction too. Pretty much the same setup as everything we've looked at today. Then it made a slightly lower low. It looks like it made a lower low there. Yeah, it did. That can happen sometimes. Slightly lower low here. But if you look at the MACD, we have bullish divergence forming. So we have our low right here and a lower low right here. But the MACD has this huge higher low. So that's a big bullish divergence on Holo here. And that's a strong buy signal here in the big picture for HOT. Now, because crypto is headed into mass adoption and we're going from this phase right here, where we're at right here early on in the cycle, up the S-curve into the mass adoption up here, a lot of stuff is going to go up. Some stuff more than other stuff, but a lot of coins are going to go up. Think of like a crypto prosperity phase, where all of crypto is just going nuts and a lot of stuff is going up. Some stuff is going to go higher than other stuff, but it helps you understand that because a lot of charts look really bullish right now. So it helps you know, okay, well, how is so much stuff going to go up? Well, it's because of the mass adoption phase for crypto. It's going to be kind of like 2017 where everything went up. All of crypto did. And a lot of stuff is going to grow. A lot of stuff is. Some will do better than others. So the goal for you is to learn as much about TA as you can so you can find what setups are going to do better than other setups and position yourself as best as you know how into the setups that are going to give you the biggest percentage gain, that will lead the market and do the most growth instead of just kind of follow everything else because it's growing. HOT, I believe, could do pretty good here. It looks nice. I love the bullish divergence. I love the ABC correction. Yeah, it could do really good. David says, you are the best, bro. Well, thank you, David, for tuning in to today's live stream, and I appreciate the kind words. Les Jaggard says, morning mate from Australia. Any chance to look at RSR? Apologies if already covered. Just tuned in 4 a.m. here. Well, thank you for tuning in, Les. And I appreciate the request on analysis from Australia. Let's pull up RSR here. RSR. This will be my last coin for the day because it's already a little over an hour now of streaming, and I still have a whole to-do list of things to do today. So I didn't even know I was going to do a live stream today. Thought I was just going to tackle my to-do list, but I got too excited about the charts. So it is what it is. Here we are, right? So RSR looks really nice. Very similar to HOT that we were just looking at. We have an ABC correction here. What I like about this chart is the volume spike and the ABC, because not only do we have a perfect ABC correction setup, just like a lot of the really good setups that we've been looking at today, but also see how big that volume spike is. That's 99 billion RSR tokens traded in one candle. In one 15-day period, 99 billion RSR tokens were traded at that level. That's more volume than it has ever seen before. So that's a really good sign. You definitely want to look for coins that have those spikes. Some of them get them later. Some of them look like there isn't any volume, and then it starts to bottom out like this. And then all of a sudden, this huge spike in volume comes. So if your favorite coin doesn't have this yet, it doesn't mean it won't happen. It just means it hasn't happened yet. But the best setups are the ones that have big spikes in volume. Volume precedes price. Again, this is what Bitcoin did before 2016 and 2017. So let's pull up our BTC chart. It's kind of like our roadmap for the rest of crypto. If you want to get a good idea of what a good setup looks like, looking at Bitcoin is a powerful tool to know what a good setup looks like. Here's RSR and here's Bitcoin. See that spike in volume on Bitcoin and that spike in volume on RSR? That is a green light go. That's a really good sign for RSR. It's a huge buy signal for this coin. So I believe it will do a big run. It'll do a run very similar to Bitcoin in 2016 and 2017. And it'll blow a lot of people away. So that's pretty much my stream for the day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Sleeping Korean Guy, for the love and respect. I appreciate that. Yeah, Theta, TFuel, and T-Drop all look really good. I agree 100%. Ryan Holt, I'm sorry I didn't get to your SHX today. Screw it, we'll just do it right now. I was about not to, but let's just do it. So this is the last one, I promise, for the stream today. This looks really nice. So if you guys don't know what it can look like in the early cycle, so let's look at Bitcoin here. See Bitcoin right here, as Bitcoin was bottoming out. It made this higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Then it went nuts on Bitcoin. That's the same thing the Stronghold token is doing here. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Then I'm expecting it to go nuts. Also a really good example of this, I believe it's Solana, if I go on memory. Solana. Oh, it's Solana. Where is it? Solana. Give me just a second here, you guys. Here we go. I believe it's Solana. It looked like this. Kinda like this. This is sort of similar, not exactly. I'm trying to remember what coin it was. Normally I can, but sometimes there's so many charts to remember. It's hard to get every single one like that, or you just remember perfectly. Bitcoin. Bitcoin in 2017 is a good example of this, actually. Let's pull up Bitcoin in 2017. That's actually probably the example I was thinking of. I don't know why I thought Solana. So here's Bitcoin in 2017. Here's SHX today. And early on in the cycle, what you will see is a lot of corrections. So here's Bitcoin. You run up here. Then you have a correction back down to 1800. Another run up here up to 5,000 and then back down to 3. See how volatile this area was? A lot of pumping and dumping. And then it just went crazy. That's exactly what Stronghold is doing right now. And I know we were looking at Bitcoin back in 2016 earlier, right here. You know, that's another good example of the same kind of stuff happening. where you're building momentum for the trend. But yeah, right here in 2017 is even more like what's happening here on Stronghold in terms of structure and what it looks like. So yeah, I think Stronghold will go parabolic here and run up really nice. Definitely one of the best looking setups. And I did make a video about Stronghold when it was like down here before it pumped up to here, and I'm still bullish on this coin. So anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you. I appreciate every single one of you. I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos and future live streams. And you guys know the drill. As always, stay profitable out there.